Alright, so let's go over your homework. I had asked you to do a worksheet. And problem number 1, it's saying what's the cosine of the inverse sine of 3/5. So this inside is going to tell us what kind of triangle to draw. The sine of this angle is going to be 3/5. Pythagorean theorem would tell us that that side's 4. The cosine of this angle that we just got, cosine is going to be 4/5. For problem number 2, it's asking us what's the tangent of the inverse cosine of root 2 over 2. And I know that this is going to be a 45-degree angle, but we don't really need that here. We know that that angle is going to give us a cosine of root 2 over 2. If we do Pythagorean theorem, you would actually find that this side is root 2 also. So the tangent of that angle that told us was root 2 over 2, root 2 over root 2, which is just 1. You get the same answer if you did a 45-degree triangle here. And 1 over root 2, you'd get exactly the same thing. Number 3, what's the cotangent of the inverse sine of 1/2? Well, this angle is going to give us a sine of 1 over 2. You know, this side has to be root 3. This comes from our special triangle of 30 degrees, 30, 60, 90. So what's the cotangent of that? Well, we didn't even have to know that was 30. We could have completed it without using Pythagorean theorem, but the cotangent would be root 3 over 1. Number 4, it says the secant of the inverse cotangent of 12/5. Okay, so let's draw a triangle whose angle right here is going to give us a cotangent of 12 over 5. Well, this has to be 13, and using Pythagorean theorem, so the secant would be hypotenuse over adjacent. Number 5, it's saying what's the sine of the inverse tangent of the tangent of the inverse cosine of 3/5. Inverse tangents cancel. This is going to give us an angle whose cosine is 3/5. So using Pythagorean theorem, this other side would be 4. The sine of that angle that we just drew, based on the inside part, the sine would be 4/5. Okay, we have a few more to do. Number 6, it's asking us what's the cosecant of the inverse cosine of 4/5. Well, the inverse cosine of 4/5 would be the angle whose cosine is 4/5. Pythagorean theorem would make this 3. So the cosecant would be the opposite of sine, right? Which would, if sine is 3/5, cosecant is 5/3. Number 7, it's asking us what's the tangent of the inverse sine of 1/2. So let's use this to draw our angle. The sine of 1/2 would be 1 over 2. This has to be root 3, and we know that that's a 30, 60, 90-degree triangle. Doesn't really matter. The tangent of the angle we just drew would be 1 over root 3, which we should rationalize and make it root 3 over 3. The way that we rationalize, in case you forgot, is we multiply by root 3 over itself. Number 8 is asking us what's the cosine of the inverse cotangent of 1. This is going to give us our angle. The angle here is cotangent of 1, so adjacent over opposite. 1, root 2. We recognized that kind of triangle before. The cosine of that angle would be 1 over root 2, which we should rationalize. The answer would be root 2 over 2. And then last problem, number 9, It's asking us what's the sine of the inverse tangent of root 3. This is going to give us a triangle whose angle right here, the tangent is root 3 over 1. I recognize that as a 60, 30, 90 triangle. The sine of that angle we just drew, sine would be root 3 over 2. So there's your homework. Stay tuned for today's lesson.